Welcome to HumanityWins.net. Please read the important disclaimer on your screen. All of the content provided is for entertainment purposes only. It should not be taken as medical or legal advice. Please contact your doctor or lawyer if you require such advice. Thank you. The show starts right now. Hello, welcome to this new show of HumanityWins.net. This is episode 276 from December the 8th of the year 2023. Today is a Friday, and today's show is You Control Your Life. These are the kind of shows I'm very fond of. They're very to the point. We're not going to take more than 15 minutes probably. But for me, it's kind of my core message since I started the channel, that everything that I want to share is about you, okay? About the importance of discovering you. And actually, my first episode, episode 1, is called You. And it might seem like a very egocentric, self-centered episode because, okay, if everything is about me, then the world is not important, the universe is not important, humanity is not important because everything is about me. That could be a way of taking it. That would be an ego-centered, an ego-attached way of seeing that importance of yourself. That's what religions actually claim, that when people are centered on the power of the self, or your self-power, your self-connection to God, is kind of arrogance, is kind of being self-centered because you think you're so important. Again, this is the religious belief, that you think you're so important that you might have a connection to God and you won't need a church or a religion or a book. Again, no disrespect to the Bible, the Quran, and all of these books that are quite nice, beautiful reads. What I'm trying to say, you don't need them to connect to God. That's very clear. I think even to religious people that, you have your own divine connection, you have your own connection, and that's in you, okay? And the purpose of this episode, and actually the purpose of the channel, as I've been asked to kind of reattach to this original idea that I was sharing, that maybe I felt I was maybe making too much of a point, and maybe I was gonna start boring people. But I'm kind of re-energizing that idea that I'm gonna keep sharing what I share in the last 1.5 minutes of the show, that is really about you, about how you take everything that happens to you, how you transmute whatever is out there that is beyond your control. That it takes a while to understand that we don't control what happens to us, that we don't control the world, we don't control the universe, we don't control humanity, we don't control other beings, by the way. And this goes back to the 2 shows I had with my very good friends Tony from London and Jeannie from Australia, that we had 2 full shows, almost an hour each, on what is evil, why are people evil by choice, because that's why they want to be, but you don't control that. You can control how it affects you, how you master it in a way, how you traverse that situation. And of course, if you are being affected by an evil being that you physically have no possibility to be able to transmute that, then you're going to be subjected to trauma, okay? For example, in abuse, in some other things. And I don't mean to belittle it, please. It's awful, but even during trauma, during abuse, you have the choice. And we have been saying it in so many ways, in so many words, especially with my good friend Tony. For example, on the episode on victim mentality, you have the choice to be a victim. You have the choice to suffer in a way, or you have the choice to try to transmute that. And even if you had a horrible experience of abuse, of trauma, to put that behind you, to forgive and forget, to move on, and to transmute that. And of course, try to avoid these situations. Of course, I'm not saying you should throw yourself out to the wolves to be, treated badly so you suffer, okay? You try to avoid suffering, because then you know better, and you say, you know what, I'm going to be smarter next time, and you're going to start protecting yourself. And that's a good choice of you correcting and you controlling the out there by saying, for example, very simple example I can share with you. 10-15 years ago here in my city, there were a lot of kidnappings during nights, there were a lot of robberies during nights, there were a lot of carjackings during nights. So what happened? People started going out less and less during nights. And if you were going to go out, you will go to a friend's house very close by, and you will maybe do it during the early evenings and go back to your house 10, 11 p.m. and not 1 a.m., 2 a.m., where the roads were deserted at that time. And you were probably the only car on the road, or a couple of cars on the road. You're exposing yourself. And most people took that idea of saying, we need to protect ourselves, so we need to adapt. And some said, no, I'm not going to change my ways. I like to go out at night. I like to come back late to my house at 3 a.m., so I'm going to keep doing it. And unfortunately, to some of them, nothing happened, by the way. Some of them, they suffer robberies. Some of them, they suffer carjackings. And unfortunately, some of them suffer kidnappings.
But again, you might say, well, what happens to the ones that didn't have anything? Casualty. Okay. Sometimes you don't control what happens to you. It's a randomness. Okay. Because again, it depends on the free will and the choice of so many beings, of so many situations meshed together that you don't know what lottery ticket you're gonna get. Okay. So you might get the prize or you might don't get anything. So same story with people that don't take care of their body, eat whatever they want, they smoke, they drink, they do drugs, everything, and they die 100, okay? And some people that do everything perfect, they exercise, they take care, they go organic, they everything, and they die very young. Doesn't mean they did something wrong. It doesn't mean that the other ones did something wrong. It's casualty, okay? But you certainly can control how you react and how you act in your life, trying to fulfill whatever you wanna do. So I'm gonna go through some quotes. I'm not, the author of these quotes necessarily, just very common sense quotes. I include them on the last 2.5 minutes of the show. Let's go through them together and just, I'm gonna give you my final thoughts on this very short Friday episode on You Control Your Life. All your limits are self-imposed. I love this one, and this one is so complicated to explain because I had a show actually called All Your Limits Are Self-Imposed. I believe that was the title. I think it's episode 3 actually. Uh, Again, this is my early work. I'm talking February 2022, March 2022. It was right out after I appeared a couple of times with Pat and Joel in Waking the Future, and I was inspired, and I thank them. I'm forever going to be grateful that they inspired me to start my own show. And this was my early work. And on this one, I shared that basically everything you need, everything you think you can do is in your mind. You are the one making it happen by thinking you are not able to do X and Y. Okay. And I got I think it was a public comment or an email. I don't remember. It started to be a long time ago, and so many emails, so many comments that honestly, I have a decent memory, but I don't recall if it was a public comment or an email that said, uh, you're an idiot, something like that. It was one of the belligerent ones. It said basically, you're an idiot. What happens? How are my all my limits self-imposed? If I throw myself from a building, I'm gonna die. Yes, of course, of course. Because I'm not talking about that. That's the limits of this physical reality, and we cannot fly in this physical reality, and we cannot sustain a hit or survive a hit from a high building. Of course, you're gonna die. I'm not talking all your limits are self-imposed. That you're self-imposing yourself, that you cannot fly in this reality, that you cannot leave this body in this reality, that you cannot, for example, go without eating. I had recently, actually last Friday, Jeannie on the show, and we were discussing that with veganism and all that, at the end, I believe on a higher frequency, higher vibration reality, we're going to eat very little. Maybe there's a school of thought once a week, and it's probably going to be vegetables and ones that we don't know yet, a different kind, not necessarily tomatoes or anything like that. So it doesn't make sense in this reality because it is the same thing as I will tell you, you can fly in this reality. You can throw yourself out of a building because you're Superman. You're gonna just fly out, and you are not gonna fall to the ground. No, that's not correct. Okay, what I'm talking here is everything you think you can achieve in this experience you're having in this reality, and if you limit yourself by thinking, no, I cannot do it, that's self-imposed. Okay, of course, you're gonna say everyone's claiming that. For example, if I say I'm gonna win a gold medal in the Olympics, it's very far-fetched. But I can assure you, right now, my age is basically impossible. I know, but if it's a thought I had a 12-year-old, 14-year-old, and I put all the work in to try to improve, I had a chance to win a gold medal. And at the end, if I don't get it, that's not the point. The point is the limit that you cannot do it. That's something you're self-imposing yourself, and that goes with everything. You are the master of your life. You control your life. Everything you think you cannot do is because you're allowing it, and you're self-limiting yourself. Because at the end, same as you cannot control the out there cannot or shouldn't control you. If it controls you, it's because you allow it, because you are self-imposing that control on you, that limit on you. Hope it makes sense. Um, you don't need anything out there. You only need you. Yes. Yes. I believe that was also a show, a full show. You only need you, or maybe it was part of episode 1 you. But I do recall talking 5-10 minutes about this idea that you truly don't need anything out there. Okay? I know that sounds very lonely. That sounds very sad because, okay, so I don't need a family. I don't need my parents. I don't need my friends. Yes, of course you do. But in reality, your life, what I'm trying to say, is you are the one that need to take action with that. You only need you in that regard. No one should control or should impose in your life. Okay. So I know as a kid you're dependent of your parents. I'm not saying if you're 12-year-old you do as you like, because that again that could be same as episode 1 you that everything's about me, so I'm the king of the world. So thank you. I'm everyone work for me because I'm the king, because everything is about me. No. Same, you're a kid, you of course need to take the advice of your parents. You're still a dependent. But I'm talking, let's just go, you're an adult, 30-year-old adult, 25-year-old adult. And if you want to go to another place on earth to work in Asia, I mean, maybe I'm sharing it because that was my experience. I went to work in the UK at 28, actually technically 27. And it was a surprise to my parents because how did you get this job? I mean, where are you going? What is the name of the company? They wanted to control because they're parents. They worry, okay? They didn't do it out of a bad place. They did it because they were concerned of where is this guy going? I mean, is he going literally to the other side of the world, 10 hours away by plane, and we don't even know? And I said, don't worry, fine. It's a consulting company. I checked that out. It's legal, it's legit, so I'm gonna be fine. It's it's a dream of me because I'm gonna be traveling, and that's the company that gave me my chance to travel a little to Africa and a little to the Middle East. And I also was there out in Finland, and so what I'm trying to say is, at the end, to make these things happen in your life, at the end, to change your life, you don't need anything out there. You only need you and your decision to say, I'm going to do it. And of course, I'm going to put the work in for this change to take effect. Not magical, okay? But what I'm trying to say is very common when you take this, for example, you're, okay, let's go and we're going to go and live somewhere else, very far away. The first question is, shut up and let's discuss it because you're doing something wrong. And that's the point. You have to take control and say, thank you, but it's my decision. And at the end, I'm going to be the one that, takes the repercussions of anything bad happening. So I'm confident with my decision, and that's the only thing I need to do. You don't need to acquire knowledge. You need to discover your wisdom. That, I believe that's also an episode, not the early ones, probably in the 50s or 60s, wisdom and the difference with knowledge. Acquiring knowledge is perfectly fine. What I'm trying to say here in a spiritual way, I don't believe anything is acquired. Morality, how to behave, the real important decisions of your life, of your soul, they are not acquired. It's not something goes through your mind, through logic, through rationalization of saying, hey, you know what, I checked, and the most common thing here is to do this. The right, air quotes, right thing to do here is to do that. So that's what I'm going to do. No. When you go with your wisdom, is basically you're going with your intuition, you're going with your inner self, you're going with your divine connection. It's something that the answer might surprise you because it could be a simple yes or no. And as humans, we are obsessed with the idea of, okay, it's a yes, but why is a yes? And your intuition is going to say, don't worry about that. Okay, don't worry about that, because the intuition doesn't give explanations, and the intuition doesn't necessarily make sense. And the intuition is just like that. It's very simple, simplistic. Okay, so one example for me is when years ago, I kind of not got, but discovered the idea of the flat earth and that. I never, kind of embraced it or anything like that. But my intuition very quickly said, there's nothing here. There's not really, don't go into this. It's a rabbit hole, okay? It's very interesting I'm saying it's fascinating almost. All the visual evidence, they come up and, this is the proof. And it's like a sci-fi movie, sci-fi series, Netflix or something like that. Extremely fascinating and interesting. And, as an engineer, as a curious soul, for me, it's attractive. But my intuition immediately said, there's nothing here. It's a rabbit hole, and it's a rabbit hole that, unfortunately, I feel that people that have gone down this rabbit hole and have embraced the idea, they are totally obsessed by that, by being right that the earth is flat, that I don't see it as a healthy thing, okay? And again, my intuition is, there's no explanation. You're never gonna satisfy them with whatever you think you know why the earth is not flat. So just leave it at that. Let them enjoy, their truth, air quotes. Let them enjoy being right, air quotes. And there's nothing there. So that's how the wisdom works, okay? At least for me, that's how wisdom works, in the sense that it doesn't necessarily make sense. It doesn't give you a full explanation. It's most of the times a yes or a no, or a simple don't go there, just go or go here. And one example of an intuition, when I appeared with Pat and Joel, the second time was Saturday. We stopped, we said goodbye, and half an hour later, I wanted to record something. That was an intuition, okay? That was an intuition of saying, keep going, don't stop. Don't stop, because you have a story to say, you have something to say, okay? And you need to say it. So I came to the office on a Sunday, which is not common for me. And I really, I couldn't do the Pat and Joel type because I need a companion or something like that. I felt, yes, you could do the self-recording type that a lot of podcasters, video podcasters do. Yes, I could. And actually I did a few episodes of me by myself, like a self-chat. But, as my bread and butter, I didn't like it. So I ended up, doing this kind of show that is basically a PowerPoint presentation with images. And 1 second. I apologize for the interruption. Someone was knocking on my door and I'm recording this show in my office and I don't usually get interruptions. I apologize for that. Let's keep going. So I was saying that, I started this type of show, basically a presentation, PowerPoint presentation with some images, and then I added videos and that, everything through my intuition, or just trying to improve the show. But again, there's no real explanation when you discover your wisdom. And sometimes I've heard people telling me, I want to go to the sea, but to leave, not, for a week vacation or anything like that. Go for it. Okay. If that's in you, that you cannot explain it, go for it, because there's something there. And maybe your life is going to change, and maybe you're going to do some important work there. And it's similar to the intuitions you can also read, for example, in the Bible and stuff like that. Those are very God-given, divine connection intuitions that, suddenly, okay, let's move somewhere else. Let's change jobs. Let's do something else. I don't like my life. I would like a change. Just decisions that really are not necessarily validated, and especially you are not going to notice if you share them with other people. Be prepared, family and friends even, okay? Be prepared to be questioned, and be prepared to say, what the hell are you doing? Okay? And be prepared to say, all right, I understand your skepticism. I understand you feel I'm doing something wrong, but at the end, it's my life and I control my life. That's the whole point. And I feel very strong about this. And again, it's feeling, not thinking. Wisdom, feeling. Thinking, knowledge. Knowledge is fine, okay, to develop for example, you want to become an engineer, a doctor, all of that is knowledge, okay? By the way, wisdom is kind of the pepper in the meal with knowledge, in the sense that you will do most of the work with knowledge, but then at the end, an important decision, for example, a decision that involves morality, is going to be taken by wisdom. Not, for example, you're building something that is going to make people sick, okay? And then suddenly your intuition is going to tell you, what, no, don't go there. Don't build it, okay? Because again, this is wrong. And it doesn't matter how your brain and your knowledge is going to justify this by saying, yes, a few people are going to get sick, but it's going to help others and you're going to make a lot of money. So the justification starts. And again, I need to clarify, wisdom doesn't need nor doesn't offer justifications. Doesn't offer anything. It's just a yes or a no. Sometimes it just do it or don't do it. It's just go here or go there. Don't expect the validation. That's your brain asking you for that. The brain always insisting on things making sense. The wisdom doesn't care about that. All right? Everything that happens to you, you decide how it affects you. It's similar way of, similar issue, similar situation, but in a way, what I'm trying to say, this is more with bad things. You decide if something is going to make you crumble, if you're not going to pick up yourself, not someone picking you up, the victim mentality. Pick up yourself from the ground and say, you know what, this is not going to break me. I'm going to take it different. And I shared, I believe it was with Tony, the story of a friend that he had tongue cancer, okay? So it was not very advanced or anything like that, but still cancer, and they had to cut a piece of his tongue, so it affected his speech and all that. But he had such a positive attitude. We all could see it. Such a positive attitude, saying, this is not going to break me, okay? And I don't care if they took a piece of my tongue. He was always the one in social gatherings and that, speaking, and so you will really enjoy it by saying, this guy has 3/4 of a tongue or half a tongue, and he still goes and speaks, and even if sometimes sounds funny or whatever, no one cared, because at the end it was, he decided that was not going to affect him in a bad way. So some family members of people with cancer, sometimes advanced cancer, that knew him, started inviting inviting him to talk to these other family members that they were not taking it as good as he took it. So he said, one time he was telling me that story. He said, I went to a person, why me? I hate the world, I hate God, why me? There are other people older than me that are fine, why me? I'm only 40 and I have this advanced cancer. And he said, you know what? We could be here all day and you could be, victimizing yourself all you want, or you could take a different attitude and try to have a positive spin and try to think of the best outcome of this. And didn't go well. Apparently, the person, was just too negative, too irritated. It's understandable. I'm not saying that's the wrong thing to do. I'm just saying whatever happens to you, believe me, you have a choice. It's not that you don't have a choice, okay? It doesn't matter what happens to you, you have a choice on how to react to it. And I believe it's three choices. Is negative, like this person reacted, the one that, had the advanced cancer, neutral, or positive, like my friend, that has situation, cancer, okay, my God. And he said, no, I'm gonna do everything. And he changed his lifestyle. He didn't only go by the chemotherapies or whatever. He went to a place that, he knew that he had to change his life in order to avoid for this to come back, okay? Because that was and the positive mentality and the positive thinking of, I'm gonna be fine, okay? You decide what happens to you. Sorry, let me rephrase that, that's wrong. You don't decide what happens to you. You decide how you react to everything that happens to you, okay? It's very important. You have that power. You have that power, okay? You have that power. People can change you and you can change people. This is also another one that, we wake up and, and they say that this channel and this other channel is waking people up, and thank God, because through information, through knowledge. I disagree. This channel is 100% my opinions, my feelings, my intuitions. I believe that people cannot change you and you can change people. And, it's something that we need to realize. But the great part about this is you can only change yourself, and you can change yourself. And if you want to change the world, what you can do is changing yourself. And that's the universe is going to say, great. And that's the core of the law of karma, okay? That you have made mistakes in the past, but what the universe wants to hear after you have forgiven yourself, after everything, all that, after you have understood what you have done, that's perfect. But at the end, what the universe wants to hear is, all right, are you ready to change? Are you ready to mature? Are you ready to evolve? Are you ready not to do it again? Yes, I am. And that's when the universe gives you a clap, like a high five of saying, great, because that's what I really want to hear. That's what I want to hear. Not that you made mistakes, not the trauma and the karma you created, the karma on yourself, the trauma on others. What I want to understand is, first of all, that you accept it, that you have forgiven yourself, and that you have promised to change forever, that you're never going to do it again. So, for example, you murder, okay? And then you go through this process, you should never murder again. Oh, wait, Alex, but 100 years later, I'm talking about if we embrace the possibility of reincarnations and all this, 100 years later, what happens is, someone puts a gun to my head, so, I had a gun and I shoot it, but I didn't want to do it. It was, no, okay, no. And that's why I say self-defense and that kind of reaction is so difficult to explain, because yes, in this reality, I understand, and I will do it. I want to clarify, I will do it, especially for my family, okay? If someone is threatening my family, I'm going to defend them with my life or taking a life or something. I'm not sure if it was only about my life and I was, for example, alone and I didn't have a family. I'm not sure about that, okay? I know it sounds crazy, but I'm not sure if someone puts a gun to my head, if I'm going to react or not. But definitely with my family, I'm going to defend them. But what the universe wants to hear, if you have made the promise of not killing again, doesn't matter the situation, because remember, we don't control what happens to us. We control how we react. So someone puts a gun to your head, shoot away. That's what the universe wants to hear, because at the end, it's not the end, okay? At the end, you go somewhere else. Yes, this experience ends. You suffer trauma. You forgive and forget. But you didn't create karma. That's the key. Okay, suffering trauma, you don't control it. Creating karma, you do control it. Okay, and by doing that and saying, shoot away. I know it's very strange, and that's the Gandhi way. Okay? Gandhi said that, shoot me, shoot us. We don't care. We're not gonna shoot back. That's the Gandhi way, and that's so evolved and so mature in a way that you accept the trauma, but you don't engage in the cycle of karma. And that's because you can only change yourself and you can only mature and evolve yourself. You don't affect others. It shouldn't work that way. Imagine if you can affect change on people, like these leaders, these world, historic leaders, the Stalins, and these leaders, many I could mention. I just don't want to touch sensitivities of some people, because some people actually admire some of these leaders I was going to mention, the Saddam Husseins and all these, these leaders that, in a way, they felt they could change, they control their population. They felt they affected change on people. They cannot, okay? They cannot. The only reason is that people receiving the message embraced it, accepted it, they decided to take that knowledge and change, using that knowledge, change their lives, and that's why they think they have control of them, okay? Finally, I'm going to end. I already used this quote, I remember a long time ago, and I love it. Rumi, the Persian poet, what a great soul, what, beautiful work. We're left with Rumi. Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I'm wise, so I'm changing myself. It's actually kind of this topic in 2 sentences. Yesterday I was clever, smart, full of knowledge, so I wanted to change the world. Today I'm wise, at peace, simple, direct, so I'm changing myself. I hope you enjoyed this Friday episode. If everything's okay, I shall see you back on Monday. Have a great weekend. Enjoy it any way you want. If you want to enjoy it with family and friends, that's beautiful. But if you want to enjoy it alone, that's also great. Take care and have a great weekend. Thank you for making it to this part of the video. This is my favorite part. This is where I suggest to you that you discover yourself. You are not what you have been groomed to believe. You are this incredible being without limits that has eternal life, amazing strength, infinite wisdom, and a big, beautiful heart. All your limits are always self-imposed. Your best version in this reality is inside you. Your only mission on this life is to become a beacon of love and guidance. This version is ready to be discovered today. How do you discover yourself? The discovery process is a personal one. No one can do it for you. Dedicate 5 minutes a day to talk to yourself and the universe. Request to be connected and ask, who am I? Where do I come from? You will start getting signs, breadcrumbs, and signals. You will notice how your notions about those realities start disappearing. No more hierarchies, no more competition, no more complaining, no more depending on others. Discovering yourself equals to breaking your matrix. Your self-imposed limits will fall, and you will be ready to serve humanity and help break this spell and deception on us. But you must be patient to allow others to wake up at their time, through their own free will. That will be really soon, you will see, and that will start a new world. As you work towards your best version, you will notice how all emotions don't serve you anymore. Hate, fear, rage, pride, loss, envy, violence, justice, true violence, judgment of others, and other emotions will disappear from your mind and heart. You will understand those emotions serve only the evildoers and are not you. Please try to be understanding of others that don't think or feel like you. Everyone has a process. No one is right or wrong. We're all just different. Don't be concerned about being right, ever. Don't allow pride preventing you from patching things up with family and friends. It is very important you enjoy this life with your loved ones. Put in the work to patch things up and leave it to others to decide. Please relax and enjoy life. When everyone breaks their own matrix, humanity through our community consciousness will break the final spell. The new world will start and everything will gradually fall. Governments, hierarchies, and the medical and financial system will go from scarcity to abundance for all. Thank you very much for watching. Please share this episode. If you have any comments or suggestions, please use the comment section below. For private questions, conversations, and if you would like to appear on the show, please email me at hey@humanitywins.net. Thank you again. Please don't forget to visit our website www.humanitywins.net. By giving me your time, you honor me. Have a very, very, very nice day.